Everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. Today we're going to be looking at a piece by the artist Alex Hovey. He is a European digital artist working primarily within Britain, I believe, but he works also across the European Union as well. He works primarily with this digital illustration type of medium, digital paintings, and of course we see some incredible details at that. So we're going to talk about ancient symbolism, we're going to talk about texture, we're going to talk about kind of this Victorian gray industrial aesthetic, and we're also going to talk about kind of some hero myths and what goes along that, as well as a slight Game of Thrones reference as well. So let's jump right into it. So in our initial introduction, we're met with this trio of these three predators here. And at first, it's hard for me to distinguish between these two wolves, but after giving it some careful thought, looking at the title is "The Pack Survives," so that is actually a slight reference to the Starks in Game of Thrones, and that, of course, is an analogy of the lone direwolf dies alone, but the pack survives. So strength in numbers, strength in family, and reinforcing those family ties as well. So some incredible symbolism with that, and that is really what we see here as well. And of course, we see kind of a unexpected but still incredibly unique pack. You won't see a panda right next to a direwolf and a gray wolf, but I think that gives this kind of mythological surrealism, which is incredibly cool here. I guess I wouldn't call it surrealism, but there's definitely this sense of abnormality, but in a mythological sense that is incredibly intriguing, and really kind of that fantasy aspect as well, right? So we have our three predators here, and we have what appears to be the gray wolf, we have the dire wolf, and we have the panda. Those three are all definitely predators by any means. At first you kind of think of the panda as some type of, cuddly animal you see on social media, some cute videos with the panda. Nope, pandas are killers. And notice this butterfly here, kind of resting on the nose. He may look cute and cuddly, but that man is deadly. A panda is a deadly predator, and that thing will, let's not forget, these are bears. incredibly dangerous. So we see the three predators here. We have the gray wolf, the dire wolf, and the panda. And so whenever you're first met with this piece, you obviously feel like they're all moving in one set direction. You see the eyes are directed forward. You see the eyes are directed forward. You see the eyes are directed forward. And so there really is this sense of kind of coordinated motion, all kind of at a pincer point towards some type of target. And of course, the presence of this coordinated motion towards a target, kind of like this pincer move that we have from our trio of predators here, it gives the scene a great deal of motion, and the motion, of course, is also reinforced in what we'll talk about in some of the texture here in a second as well. A lot of in motion with the cape and everything. They're all kind of moving with this sense of coordination and unified direction towards one singular point. And, whenever we're taking a look at this piece, we can really see that as quite literal, right? Quite literal as in they're literally all pouncing and moving almost like a war pack towards one singular point. But we can also kind of extend that to the metaphorical realm, because whenever you have the individual, say the individual wolf, but the pack survives, so there's strength in numbers. So instead of just one person going towards, say, a set goal or a set ideal or some type of set objective, you can put together a pack of coordinated and unified coalition of individuals to further help you achieve that goal. So I think that's some incredible literal and kind of metaphorical symbolism that we can draw from that. So it really gives this piece, it also it makes you wonder what they're going towards, right? We don't have the view of what they're pouncing towards, but we do have this single snapshot, and this single snapshot is all we need to know that they're going towards some type of target off screen, which they are all kind of coordinated and moving towards in a unified sense. Notice the amount of visual energy within this piece. You have the direwolf in the midst of the run. The panda extends the paw to keep going forward. The paw is like that. They are pouncing forward. So there's this great deal of visual energy that's just driving the piece forward. It drives the piece forward, and that also reinforces, say, the smoke which billows off of the crown here, and incredible amount of movement even in the grass texturing. That's going everywhere. You kind of have the ruffled fur as well, an incredible degree of texture everywhere, kind of a ruffled flag. You have the drapery of the cape. Those are all working to imply this incredible sense of motion. I think those also reinforce that kind of sense of unified direction towards one point as well. So an incredibly energetic visual experience whenever you see this piece, and that spatial composition is just full of visual energy, and that is mainly achieved through motion, and mainly in motion forms, whether it's the ruffled drapery or the kind of running effect of the form of the wolves and the predators. Those all give an incredible sense of energy throughout the piece. So next we see this kind of industrial aesthetic here, right? And most literally, you can look at that in the gray aesthetic, and you kind of have these muted tones here on the gray on the grasses. You thought grass would be green. No, this is gray grass. So, and it kind of this heavy smoke industrial aesthetic, and what I believe to be kind of like a Victorian type of theme. The Victorian really developed during the Industrial Revolution, and that's just what it reminds me of personally. And that's really what I see, kind of like the chain. We see the rose, it's kind of gilded gold, incredible. And of course, mixed with that gray, industrial, heavy smoke aesthetic. So I mentioned a little bit, but texture really drives this piece as well. You have that visual energy, but you also have the texture, which also contributes to that visual energy as well. So we see this texture, of course, everywhere from the grasses. We see this in the incredible detail of the fur. We see this in the kind of ruffled in motion form of this massive cape as well. And note how the cape signifies the direwolf of higher importance. I don't see a cape on the gray wolf. I don't see a cape on the panda, yet the direwolf has a cape. So I think that's also incredibly important to note. And you also have the dagger through the heart, so that medallion is also really important as well. Those all signify the direwolf's greater importance when compared to the two other predators of the companion within the spatial composition. So as I said before, this heavy smoke aesthetic is really what you see mainly in texture, and what better an example of texture than smoke, right? Smoke billows, it kind of pools, it glows, it breaks out, and it flows with the strange way that gases move. So incredible amount of texture provided from that, and it reinforces the greater industrial theme which we see within this piece as well. Of course, Alex Hovey shows an incredible amount of detail within a lot of his works, and this piece is no different by any means. You see that incredible detail on the grasses. You see it even on the slight kind of shadowed form of the twisted gold, and just everywhere within the spatial composition, an incredible amount of detail. That really gives you that sense of, kind of that sense of life, that sense of objective realism, but it's still within this kind of mythological surrealism, this incredibly divine and fantasy art. So there's a really unique mix of that fantasy and that objective realist style to create this blend that's on both sides of the aisle. It's incredible. It really pulls you in, right? So next we're going to talk about the symbolism of the burning crown, and I think this is the most important symbolism within the piece. So we see 3 crowns topping each individual predator, and note how you have each crown it looks slightly different, so that also denotes a sense of individuality with each predator. It also kind of denotes the sovereignty of the individual, how each person is an individual which has their own unique experiences, and they can speak their own perspective into being through speech. So I think that's some incredible symbolism for the individual and the divinity of the individual, and kind of the individual human spirit moving through the darkness. And of course, light on darkness is always symbolism for the divine, and we see that in the burning crown. The nimbus is a really ancient symbolism that goes very far back. We're talking Mesopotamia. We even saw some birth with even before the griffin was created. We were seeing some type of disc or sun disc type of symbolism, which really matured later into the nimbus. So an incredibly ancient and even archaic symbol that has really been moving throughout our collective culture for countless and countless years, thousands of years easily. So we see the burning crown here, each one individual for different individuals. We see it on fire. That is exactly what creates this kind of billowing smoke effect. And we also see the disc behind it. And the disc is the traditional sense of the nimbus. You know, whenever you're looking at, say, it is technically a halo, you know, you would normally expect a halo to be kind of this three-dimensional form that hovers, kind of like a hovering 3D disc within the spatial composition that has some depth and some variety. But this is really important because it provides both a contrast for the backing, and it also emphasizes it holds the form of the crown within its disc, so that emphasizes it even more as well. And notice how these light on dark work together to really kind of elevate that symbolism. You have these three predators who have this burning crown, which is a symbolism of the divine, the divinity of the individual, and kind of the ability to speak the light in darkness. So we see, you know, this industrial aesthetic is exactly what provides that neutral backing of contrast for this incredible light to contrast that. And of course, the radiant crown is really a symbol of the divine, because if you are given powers associated with the sun, then you're kind of unstoppable. You have the burning crown, also known as kind of the sun powers, or the radiant crown. So those are all really important. It shows the divinity of the individual, and you see each one of those really gives each character a unique sense of individuality, a unique sense of divinity, and it's an incredible reminder that even just one individual can change everything. But going back to the title of the piece, it is "The Lone Wolf Dies," and then of course the piece is ... the pack survives. So even though the individual is divine, you see this much greater force when the divinity of individuals is all put together in this kind of collective and directed goal. So that's incredibly important to note. And I think the burning nimbus is just, I think it's a symbol that should come back more often, in my opinion. It's incredible, and I'm just so glad to have found this piece. Alex Hovey is a really talented digital artist. I'm going to take a quick look at some of Alex Hovey's pieces. So Alex Hovey works a lot of body art, so we're talking tattoos, and I think you can really see that in the detail and kind of that industrial aesthetic. A lot of variety here. You know, we see many different forms. Definitely heavy fantasy, definitely heavy on kind of the mythological symbolism as well. We see a little bit of fan art. We see some kind of German Krampus inspirations here. You know, incredible mix. A lot of religious symbolism, kind of ancient symbolism. We see a lot of wings. We see a lot of you know, the light of truth. We see just an incredibly diverse mix. And notice just how detailed Alex Hovey's paintings are. Here's one that kind of catches my eye, and that is another pretty damn good example of the radiant crown, of the burning crown. The divinity of the individual, whether it's through consciousness or the ability to speak language, create art, etc. So I think those are some incredible symbolism. I think that really notes with Alex Hovey's work. As I said, he is a European digital artist working a lot with body art. Just the incredible amount of detail. The incredible attention to light and shadowing. Just look at that. It's kind of like it's glowing like a hearth, and it really pulls you in. Just some incredible work coming from Alex Hovey. And like I said, I was really fortunate to have found this piece. It's just an incredible piece of art. I hope you guys learned something today. Hope you guys learned something on, say, the directed trio of coordinated individuals. Why it's good to be an individual, but it's also good to be a pack, because the pack survives together. We also learned a little bit about the industrial aesthetic. We also looked at the radiant crown, kind of the ancient and spiritual and mythological and even religious symbolism of that as well. So some incredibly ancient symbolism, some incredibly ancient meanings, some incredibly ancient reminders, and Alex Hovey really, really, really has some damn good art. Some really detailed stuff. It was incredible studying this piece. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. And I'll see you guys on the next episode. My name is Apollo. This is Apollo Art Analysis. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.